Good morning. I always appreciate the invitation to research and think, to share, and to listen. So I'm grateful to have been asked to speak to you today. My comments this morning are my own, except for those that I'll explicitly quote. The opinions that I express are not in any way an official statement representative of my role as pastoral care coordinator. However, they do align with my understanding of our Unitarian Universalist principles of inherent worth, free search for meaning, justice, and interconnectedness. My remarks may or may not resonate with your own perspective. My topic is a play on words, just us. Knowing that I'd be talking about political things this morning, I wondered if I might unwittingly violate the idea of separation of church and state. After all, coming to church on Sunday for inspiration, you may already be feeling a bit pummeled by the week's worth of politics. Worry not, I do not pummel. It's my intent to inspire a hopefulness. Interestingly, when I Googled the meaning of church and state separation, it's defined as the principle that government must maintain an attitude of neutrality toward religion. The First Amendment not only allows citizens the freedom to practice any religion of their choice, but also prevents the government from officially recognizing or favoring any religion. One might not recognize this element of our Constitution from today's current political climate. At the same time, I'm aware that people I love and respect, people that I enjoyed the same upbringing with, endorse the current state of social affairs. And I've found myself suffering an increasing sense of despair on the one hand and outright rage on the other, witnessing the dismantling of hard-won social protections, not so benign neglect and disregard for the personhood of some members of our community, and the preference to forego diplomacy, negotiation, truth-telling, and basic civility. These are deeply, deeply disturbing times to me. And if I have a witness, could I hear an amen? Amen. And the hits just keep on coming. Not long ago, I recognized that getting regularly hooked into literally hours of Facebook volleys and scouring an array of news sources is just not healthy. And finding myself incessantly triggered and hogtied by inflammatory and intentionally polarizing commentary uttered by politicians, pundits, and the press, my disbelief and feelings of impotence had flared into a simmering rage. Where once I had been capable of engaging in curious dialogue with family and friends to inform each other of the premises that led to our respective conclusions, like the collegial debates that I enjoyed in grad school, I was disappointed to discover my own spontaneous scoffing at opposing points of view without inquiry, and feeling defensive when I felt that my own position was not only minimized, but assaulted. I'm ashamed to admit that I've been avoiding significant people in my life because of the boxing ring character of discourse modeled by persons in power and high places that has insidiously taken us all hostage. I've heard myself saying that I've lost all respect for evangelicals. And I scratch my head when I hear self-proclaimed Christians advancing a politics of cruelty and exclusion. Our UUism urges us to live compassion and inclusion. So I took this up with my therapist, and she suggested physical activity as a means of mitigating and the alternating anger and angst that that had so stealthily skewed my equilibrium. So that day, I committed to canvassing door to door for the party and candidate that most closely aligns with my worldview of honesty, integrity, truth-telling, and civility. The remedy was immediate. My local campaign captains are a couple, Swedish and Vietnamese. I was among the handful of elders of the 100 or so volunteers that first day, who were mostly 20, 30, 40-something, black, brown, yellow, and white, world-traveled and educated or in the process, all enlisted in the fight for the future that they will inherit from my generation's decisions and actions. I felt right at home. I felt a renewed sense of purpose and possibility. I felt a call to hands-on action. My despair and rage dissipated. Putting my feet to the pavement, my heart and mind were again aligned. And as if my spirit of idealism and social justice were not already completely refreshed by that experience, a rainy day in Nashua, our efforts were rewarded by the surprise visit to our field office by Dr. Cornel West. And I have a picture of us here. Dr. West is an American philosopher, political activist, social critic, author of 30 books and editor of another 13, and public intellectual. He's a professor at Harvard and has taught at Princeton, Yale, the University of Paris, and Union Theological Seminary. I bought Dr. West's Race Matters book 27 years ago, when I met him for the first time at a book signing when I lived in Washington, D.C. In my opinion, West is one of the wisest people on the planet. As I again listened to the values he expressed, the inspiration and perspective, I felt reawakened and impassioned. Tears just washed my face. My jaw unclenched, my stomach unknotted. My heart felt full and whole and sure again. I had brought my body to the public square and was surrounded by intergenerational, interracial, interethnic friends of like mind. Just us. Like-minded people who value the inherent worth and dignity of every person, who cherish justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, and who respect and support the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice. West has said that we are who we are because somebody loved us. And he said that justice is what love looks like in public. These are the seeds of a society that I want to plant and tend and nourish for the next generation to harvest. West said of integrity, if your success is defined as being well-adjusted to injustice and well-adapted to indifference, then we don't want successful leaders. We want great leaders who love the people enough to be unbought, unbound, unafraid, and unintimidated to tell the truth. And he spoke of compassion, saying, empathy is not simply a matter of trying to imagine what others are going through, but having the will to muster enough courage to do something about it. In a way, empathy is predicated upon hope. Before he left our assembled group of canvassers, Dr. West and I embraced for a photo together as we had in 1993. Tears of hope were still streaming down my cheeks. I told him of the discouragement and anger that had brought me there that day to campaign door to door, and the unwelcome resonance in my spirit. But I thanked him for restoring a sense of hope. He looked into my eyes, he raised a finger and cautioned, never allow despair to have the last word. May it be so.